Welcome to the Poor Man's Retro Game Room, and today I wanted to share with you 5 NES games from back in the day that define me as a gamer. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, this is not a top 5 list. It's 5 games that I actually owned back in the day on my NES that just kind of made me fall in love with the NES and video gaming in general, and just kind of fueled that passion that I already had. When I remember back nostalgically back to those days, these are 5 games that I think about that I just had a blast playing. And you know what? Were in my library for a very, very long time. And but I would love to hear from you, and I'm sure anybody watching this video would love to hear from you. What are 5 games that defined you as a gamer from the NES back in the day? Man, put them in the comments, and let's have a conversation about it. But I'm not going to waste any of your time. Let's get started. And I'm going to kind of go in chronological order. And I also want to mention that I'm not going to mention any Zelda games or Super Mario Brothers games. Everybody knows about those games, and they've been covered by everybody. So these are those 5 games that aren't those awesome franchises that would, help define me as a gamer. But 5 of those games that maybe are a little less known, that I really found and that I loved. So anyway, let's get started with my first NES game that I actually beat, and it was cool, man. I remember it just like it was yesterday, and that is Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando is a very different game. Man, you got the grappling hook, you don't have a jump button, there's different kind of weapons, there's an overhead map with different areas that you would travel to in your chopper, and you would either descend or you would select transfer, and you'd go to another area. Now the catch is, on that overhead map, if you run into another chopper, you begin a ground battle, and it puts you on the ground, and it's a vertically scrolling combat game, shooter, I guess. Kind of like Commando. And it was really cool. But the rest of the games were, of course, side-scrolling adventures. One of the things that this game does that's really cool is the verticality of the game, going up and down stages. You have to go in and communicate in the communication rooms. You got to communicate to open doors later on in the level. And just playing a game where there's no jump button and everything is done with your grappling hook is awesome. And of course, Joe, Super Joe, he looks cool in this game, man. The icon is awesome. It's great. But I do remember playing this, and I remember farming bullets, which is another cool aspect to this game. It's kind of an RPG element to it, really. But every enemy you defeat drops a bullet, and you get so many of those bullets, and it adds a life meter. Like you have a dot that represents your life. Well, you get more dots, so you can take more hits. And the longer you play the game, the more bullets you harvest, the more, the larger your life meter gets. And the more hits you can take, and it does make the game easier if you can, farm those. And you can farm them right off the bat, man. If you got the patience, man, you can farm them and get your life bar up there and really help you make the game a little easier. It is a challenge just to learn the game, especially if you've played, Super Mario Brothers or normal side-scrolling games where you have a jump button. So, but I got this game when it came out, and I remember I was home one day from work, and my wife was gone, and she's probably at work, and the house was empty, and I just locked in on Bionic Commando, man, and I played it all afternoon. And when I beat it, it was an awesome feeling, man. I was jumping up and down like, yes! I beat it! And at the end, the last boss that you do beat, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's awesome, man. All I can say is it's pretty violent for an NES game. But, man, that was... it's one of my favorite NES games, and one of my favorite memories was just playing Bionic Commando. Alright, so the second game I'm going to share is an easy one, because my cousin and I would have tournaments, my nephew as well, And we would make these little brackets up, and we'd have tournaments, and we'd play each other in this game, and we played it all the time. I mean, there was that summer that I had this, that it came out, and we played it. Man, I mean, we put a lot of hours into Tecmo Bowl, of course. Man, this game rocks. Such a great game, such great memories of Tecmo Bowl from back in the day. Man, you had NFL players. John Elway, I would always pick Denver. That's my team. And I'd have John Elway. You'd had Bo Jackson on the Raiders, who would, man, just trample you, break tackles. And it was pretty cool. When you'd watch Bo Jackson run down the field, it was like watching popcorn. All the guys just bouncing off of him and popping off of him. And the sound effects, the cut scenes when you score, awesome, man. You could run the ball, pass the ball, and you had your 4 plays that you could pick from. And it was always kind of funny. We'd be playing, against each other on the couch there, and I would just try to guess what offensive play my cousin was calling, and I'd try to guess the patterns that he would be using. Because if you called the play on defense that your opponent called on offense, you usually shut the play down completely with a loss of yardage, could result in an interception, if the person panicked and threw the ball. It was just a blast, man. And you could cut, you could break tackles, you could dive. Diving tackles was awesome. And yeah, just a great time, man. What a great game Tecmo Bowl is, man. It's so awesome. Even with this kind of cheesy cover, when I saw it, I picked it up. I'd played some other football games, video football games. Tecmo Bowl opened my eyes. It was like, it was the most realistic football game, but it was, it's an arcade game. But back in the day, it just captured my imagination, and I played it all the time. It was awesome. I tried to take every single team through the Super Bowl, and yeah, it was a blast. Writing down those codes so that you could continue your season, it was cool. So Tecmo Bowl is my second game, my second NES game that helped define me as a gamer. All right, so the third game, and I remember this one well too. I always loved Double Dragon in the arcades, and when I saw Double Dragon 2 was available for the NES, I had to get it. And man, I love this game. What a great beat 'em up. I remember getting it home, and it was, I think we went and got it the night before I had 2 days off, and the next 2 days, man, I was downstairs with my little CRT and my Nintendo, and I just could not stop playing Double Dragon 2, man. And it took a while. It was, you kind of had to get used to it. You had to hit your A and B button to jump. You kind of had that whirlwind kick. If you'd hit A and B to jump and then hit it again, you'd do a whirlwind kick that would knock down, enemies on both sides of you. Then you also had your A and B button. Your A button would punch to the left or strike to the left, and your B button would strike to the right. And you had to remember that, but it was a really cool setup. I don't know why, but that kind of really made it feel like a true arcade game. And the color palette that it used, just the music, the soundtrack, the sound effects, the different enemies, kind of, some mini bosses, and then the boss, and the level design, being in a room, I don't know, 4th or 5th level where the ceiling is spikes, and one of the big Arnold Schwarzenegger looking dudes comes out and give you an uppercut and knock you right into the spikes and just, take a bunch of your health. It was so much fun, man. Picking up different weapons and using them against your opponent. It was a blast. One of the really coolest beat-em-ups on the NES, probably my favorite beat-em-up on the NES, is Double Dragon 2. Awesome game. Well worth it, man. If you haven't played it, most people have probably. It's a great game, and it was included on the NES Classic Edition as well. Very, very good game. All right, so then another game, I guess the fourth game that would define me as a gamer, was back in '89. I went to see Batman, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. just my favorite Batman movie, honestly. It was awesome back then. And so there was a huge buzz around it. Man, me and my cousin and my wife went to see it and just loved it. I had to go see it 2 or 3 other times. And then when I saw the game come out, Batman from Sunsoft, I had to pick it up. And when I remember when I put it in and turned it on, and I saw that Batman was kind of pink. Purple maybe? I don't know. But, you know, it kind of was a little off-putting. Then I started playing the game. And oh my goodness, it was a blast. It was really cool. I do love the cutscenes right out of the movie, and it pretty much follows the movie, man. Some of the environments, being in like a chemical plant, you know, the cutscenes, seeing the Batmobile come in and tear a door open so that you can get in. It was awesome. The boss fights are cool. It's a very challenging game, in my opinion. It was challenging for me. But man, I loved it. And the soundtrack is iconic, man. You play this game, and I tell you what, you turn that game off, the rest of the day you're going to be humming that soundtrack. The different weapons you could choose from, you know, you'd try to harvest ammo, and if you got low on health, you could harvest hearts and try to, you know, keep fighting enemies to bring your life back, your life meter back. Especially before you go in and take on a boss. Very different types of enemies too. Just the variety of enemies was excellent. This game really captured me. I just remember playing Batman, and I played it late at night after work, and just I loved the game. So Batman by Sunsoft, one of those games that defined me as a gamer. Alright, the last game, last but not least. So I've always loved Contra. I'd rented it several times and just never owned it. And so, you know, I thought one day, you know, I thought I'm going to go up. We're going to go to Sterling. I didn't have NES games, a store that carried NES games really in my town that I could go and buy, you know, a new game from. So we had to go to Sterling, which is where I live now, which is about 45 miles away again. Went to Walmart, and they didn't have Contra, but they had Super C. Brand new, just out, and man, I had to pick it up. So I got it, and I remember getting home and playing it and just thinking, man, this is pretty different from Contra. You know, I mean, it was vertical, like the sloping levels, and it was different. But man, I started to really like it. It was challenging, and I just got crushed at first. But once I started figuring out how to play it, where all the weapon drops were, when to not take a weapon, you try to hold on to that spread gun. I got to where I could really, I got really good at it. And I got to where I could almost beat it every time. And that's without the, you know, Konami code. And on Super C, with the Konami code, what that does is it gives you 10 guys. It doesn't give you 30. So, yeah, I did start with the Konami code, kind of got, you know, better at it. And then I got to where I didn't need the Konami code. And, you know, just, I don't know, like a year ago, I did film myself beating Super C on a CRT. And I also played it with the Max. Yeah, I beat Super C with the Max. I love my auto fire. And yeah, I had a blast with it. It really turned into one of my favorite NES games, and I would prefer Super C over Contra now. I love Contra, but Super C is my game, man. I loved it, played it. I loved the big, you know, the bosses that you'd fight, the music, the sound effects, the weapons, everything about that game was awesome. And it was one of those games that was tough, but I loved it so much that I was willing to put the time in to get good at it. And so that's my last game of the 5 that defined me as a gamer from the NES back in the day. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, we'd really love to hear from you in the comments. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button. It really does help a small channel like mine in the algorithm get seen. And we do offer memberships now, and you can buy me a cup of coffee. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, we'll catch you later.